One time my mom walked in on the youth pastor while he was changing. The organist even tried to stop her before she opened the door, but it was too late. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Youth Group Chronicles.
Yet another one.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun episode. In the studio today, we have Pastor Aaron Stern.
Shalom.
You all know him. And Dustin Coe. You guys have never been on an episode together, which I think is really fun.
Never.
No, but we've known each other for what feels like
Forever, right?
Yeah.
At least half of my life.
Well, that's one of the things that I love about this podcast specifically is because all of your guests, we all know each other so well.
It makes it more fun.
You know?
Yeah. It would be awkward if you're like sitting on the couch with someone that you don't know, and it's just like, who is this random guy?
Right, because like you can't laugh at the bad things that somebody you don't know, because you're like, this person's gonna hate me. So like,
yeah, literally. Yeah. That's fair. So if you're listening to this for the first time, this is Youth Group Chronicles, where we basically will read off some of the crazy youth group stories from... Are you singing Frozen? Is that Frozen?
I was.
Is that a different song?
Frozen.
Sorry.
For the first time.
Basically, we will not me, but my guests are going to blind react to crazy youth ministry stories. And here's the thing. People have asked, they're like, do they like know the stories ahead of time? I mean, you could say here, you don't know these stories. I have read them ahead of time, so I know what's coming because I don't want to stumble over my words, even though I still do.
You do.
However,
you, read like
you
a
guys,
grader.
this is your first time. Yeah, someone did say that in a comment section. They're like, this guy has a 4th grade reading level.
Memories.
Yeah, I said, that's right. That's right. You know, this is a quick tangent. I was watching a TikTok video, and they're like, I will purposely say things wrong to get people chattering in the chat section to boost engagement. I'm like,
smart idea.
That kind of happened on that one because everyone was commenting how I said memories wrong. I've never heard him called that, though, before, so got to cut me some slack.
No.
Never.
Anyway, let's kick this thing off with some good stories here. These are email submissions.
I'm so excited.
Dustin always gets excited. This is a submission from Josie M.
Ooh.
Josie.
What up, Josie?
Josie said, one time my mom walked in on the youth pastor while he was changing and saw everything. Here's what happened.
Details.
During a baptism service, the offices at our church are used as changing rooms. The minister does the baptism and then quickly heads to the office to change. Except this time, the youth pastor had left his phone on the pew in front of us, and a non-silenced call came through just as prayer was starting after service. My mom couldn't figure out how to silence the ring, so she got up to take it to him in his office, where she didn't realize that he was changing. The organist even tried to stop her before she opened the door, but it was too late. My mom saw the full frontal of our completely naked youth pastor. And to make it worse, she said, I don't think my mom was the only one that got a peek because of the door being open.
So there were people like...
Oh,
I would imagine she said the phone was still ringing, so they probably were all distracted by the phone as she carried it to the office.
Oh, man.
Only to see the door.
Oh, well, bless God. I wonder, so like they said that the organ player like tried to stop her, so like did the organ music like go?
That would be funny.
Also,
that
was
like
weird. The office like connected to the sanctuary?
That's what I was wondering. I was wondering if it was like kind of up near the stage, off to maybe the left or the right, and the organist knew what was going on in there.
No!
And then, downhill from there.
Oh,
poor guy.
Lock your doors when you change.
I was just gonna say, is there a lock on the door? Like,
I would guess maybe not. Office? I don't know. I guess there should be a lock on the office.
There's not a lock on my office door.
All I can think of is Michael Scott.
Yes.
Come in.
You said come in. No, I didn't. Michael,
Gosh,
a 5K is 5 kilometers, not 5,000 miles.
This is a story from Brittany Clanton.
Hi, Brittany.
One time, my husband, a.k.a. the youth pastor, and our executive pastor accidentally killed a student who was visiting during one of our youth events. To clarify before continuing, many years later, this student is now thriving at college, so just to get that out there. So this is what happened. 1 year for Trunk or Treat, a new idea was born. It was called the pumpkin launcher. Now, this pumpkin launcher was similar to an apple launcher where a makeshift catapult is built, but instead of apples being flung, they upped their game and they started using pumpkins.
Upped their game.
My husband, the executive pastor, and one other staff member assembled this contraption, and it was a big hit at this event. Until the last person of the night stepped up to use it. The student ended up launching his pumpkin only for the catapult to backfire, sending the pumpkin directly into his chest instead of going the opposite direction out into the field.
That's amazing.
As if this wasn't terrible enough, the pumpkin made contact with his heart just as the right beat was causing his heart to stop. So right at the right moment, basically, he just fell over because of that. Fell to the pavement, and it only took a split second to realize that the boy was seriously injured. Chaos ensued, paramedics were there, and the student was hauled away in his full KISS costume because it was the trunk or treat, makeup included. When they left the parking lot, he was actually clinically dead. However, this is the crazy part. Because of a literal miracle, he is healed and alive today, which is amazing.
Amen.
He and his family still attend the church years later.
Trunk or treats are wild places, my friend.
This is a story from Becca Edens. 1 year for Youth Group, we scheduled an event where we would go to a homeless shelter and serve food. The plan was to spend the night on the floor of their conference room to give our youth the experience of what it's like to be homeless. So I put in the address to what I thought was our location in my GPS. But upon arrival at this homeless shelter, I noticed that all the staff seemed like they really didn't know why we were there or that we were supposed to be serving that night. But they were very happy to have the help, so they didn't question it. As we worked cleaning, cooking, and serving the dinner, the staff kept giving us strange looks and then repeating the question, "So what did you say you're here for?" or "Who are you with?" The whole time I was wondering why the director had never told the staff that a youth group was coming to this homeless shelter. After we worked for 3 hours, a senior staff member pulled me aside and mentioned that after several phone calls, she discovered that we had gone to the wrong location. We were actually scheduled to serve at a women's shelter, but we had arrived 3 blocks over at the men's shelter, which, for reasons, does not allow youth or volunteers there for safety reasons. Somehow they got stuck there for 3 hours, and thankfully they're okay, but still.
So these were like sexual predators.
Maybe not sexual predators. They were homeless, but I would imagine they don't like teenage girls, I guess, working around the homeless dudes.
Another reason why we always double check.
This was a story from Nikolai Jacobs. When I was in youth group, a few guys from the grade above me decided to prank our youth pastor. Except for that the quote prank, one of the boys pooped in a bag. And then when the youth pastor left for a meeting sometime during the week, they put it on his desk. The worst part is the office had no exterior windows for ventilation, so you can imagine what happened.
Again, it just brings me back to the office.
Yes, it does.
Todd Packer.
I just want to know, like, I never thought like that when I was in. Hey guys, let's pull. You dump it. You dump
These
this
gotta be
bag
some,
here, and we're
some
gonna go put
ratchet
it on
kids that
desk.
did this. That is
John,
No.
come here. Come take a dump in this bag. We'll leave it on Pastor Kevin's desk.
Yes, that's
Pastor Kevin's desk actually has no exterior windows or doors.
that is true. We should do.
Sam, cut this out so that it's never.
So that he doesn't know when we do it. Hey,
Edit-
DK, this is
edit
coming.
that.
We're coming for you.
Oh my gosh.
This is from Bowen H. Bowen said, "One time at summer camp, one of the guys in my cabin thought it would be funny
It's not.
to pee in another kid's water pick that he uses to clean his braces. So when this kid innocently used that, his water pick that night, he quickly realized that it was pee spraying into his mouth. Probably the most awkward parent phone call I've ever had to make."
Again, how do kids like just think of these things?
That is
Mrs.
so
Smith.
foul.
Yeah,
That's gotta be
so-
like, can't you go to jail for that?
One of our
I don't know.
youth kids inadvertently took a
Accidentally.
whiz in your son's mouth.
Imagine having to call. No.
That's not what happened.
Yeah, he did.
The dude
Imagine the call to
peed
the
in a
mom of
bottle
the
and
kid that peed in it.
Right?
Hey, by the way, your kid like peed
your
in.
kid half drank someone else's pee without him knowing what it was.
I want to know how long it took him to figure it out.
So
he said
I'm-
almost instantly. Didn't
Oh
the
yeah,
thing
that's
say-
true.
So again, like when I want to pull a prank on somebody, this is like even when I was a teenager, like a preteen, Nothing involving like human waste ever popped in my
Yeah, I got
brain.
a prank.
I have an idea. Let's pee in this water bottle and make someone drink it.
Yeah, it's lemonade. Really weird lemonade.
All right, these are some crazy youth ministry stories. These are submitted via Facebook. My craziest youth ministry story was the first time I took kids to an outdoor camp for team building. The kids were paired up for a trust walk, and one is blindfolded.
Praise God.
Apparently, there was a bee flying around the kid who could see, and he told the kid with the blindfold to swat at this bee. Well, the bee then flew up inside his blindfold, up the kid's nose, and stung him inside his nose. At this point, I'm down the hill, and it sounds like someone is being murdered with all the screaming. I get the kid to the lodge. The bee is still alive in his nose.
Oh, my God.
And I'm trying to get him to calm down and blow this bee out of his nose. The kid is literally screaming in pain. We finally get the bee out, but the stinger is still sticking out of the side of this kid's nose, and we had to take tweezers to get the remains out.
Oh, man. Wait, so he said he was trying to blow the bee?
Like blow your nose?
Oh, I thought,
It's not
okay.
rocket.
I thought he meant like the youth pastor.
No.
Trying
Was
to
trying to
get
like
Blow it
blow
off
in
his
one
nose.
nostril. Like
That's what came to your head. You have a
Oh my
unique brain.
gosh. That poor kid.
Yeah, that would hurt. So
Huh.
my brother Ben got stung in the eye not in the eye, but like
Next
near
to
his
it.
eye one time. Have you ever seen the picture of that?
No.
It is one of the funniest pictures.
Man, he's had some very unfortunate things happen.
Do you
to
have the
him.
picture of that, Eli? All right, get that for us
No.
as we do another story. So his face swelled. You have it already?
Wow.
Dang.
Oh my gosh.
That's Ben?
Yeah.
That's like 12 years ago, Ben.
It was a long, yeah.
2016.
When he was a kid.
And you still have it on your... This is 6.5 years ago, dude.
It's very funny to look back on.
You could never tell now.
No.
Never tell now.
Kind of.
The dude's face kind of
Isn't
jacked
Ben
up.
the one that passed out at your wedding?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember if I've said that on this podcast.
No, but that was great.
That was great. He
That
just
was so
keeled
wonderful.
over literally at the end of the ceremony.
No,
Like,
it
he
was
started-
during pastor's prayer.
Right, like it was the
Right before the kiss.
Like we had 2 seconds. It was after the kiss.
Oh, was
Literally after the kiss.
I can't remember.
We
But
are-
I remember he fell over and it was the
He's
best.
praying us out. Pastor is holding my wife and I's hands, and he's praying, and I just hear the crowd, and I look behind me, and Ben's just out cold.
My
on the
favorite
ground.
part of the moment was your reaction. Because, like,
He just
you
like looked.
Pastor dictated that reaction. Pastor literally squeezed
Yeah.
Sierra and I's hands and was like, "Don't stop."
Because, like, when you turn back around, you're like,
Nothing will stop this wedding.
Ben of all people.
Of course it was Ben. Never lock your knees at a wedding. Side note, that one was free.
You'll have to go back and listen to this story, but there was a story. I don't know who was on the podcast as a guest, but I told the story. Ben also passed out while playing keyboard at our church one time.
I heard about that. I don't.
Was that you?
I wasn't in for the story, but I remember
Okay,
hearing
maybe
about
I haven't
it.
shared it on the podcast. I'll say it again. But when we were younger, we went to like
Ben
this.
fails.
Yeah, Ben fails. It's not really a youth ministry fail. It's a church fail. We'll do that. Yeah. We went to like a small little country church, probably 50 to 100 people. It wasn't very big. And because of that, their pool of musicians was pretty small. So
Yeah.
myself, Eli, Ben, all on the worship team. And Ben was playing keys. And for some reason, middle of the song service, he locked his knees and passed out cold in the middle of worship. Flipped over the keyboard. And then face planted on the ground, eyes wide open. And in the 10, 12 years that we went to this church as kids, never once had a song service just completely come to a halt.
wow.
It came to a screech. I looked over, I was playing guitar. I looked at him, I'm like, my brother just died. Like, this is it.
How old were you
This
guys
is
at
the
this
end.
time?
I was probably 16. He was probably 14 or 15.
Wow.
Yeah, this wasn't like he was 10. This was like
He was
teenager Ben.
half-grown. I'm not
But-
surprised though. Like,
Yeah. So if someone's listening to this, you've already heard the story. I apologize, but
That's
is
really funny.
one of my
'Cause,
church
like,
stories.
He's a tall dude.
and lanky and
So to
gangly and
Yeah, I mean the keyboard came crashing, cables ripped out, destroyed. Like it wasn't like he just collapsed.
it's just, he took it out.
Out cold. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's funny.
So he's habitual with passing.
Yeah,
out.
he is. That is
He's
true.
a habitual.
Actually, you know what? I'm
passer-outer.
gonna. This is the Ben podcast today.
The Ben podcast.
This
One
is
more.
a youth group story though.
Oh my gosh.
Growing up, my family and I lived at a Christian camp. Every summer, like one of the activities for the kids, they would get a game warden to bring in a black bear, and then they would tranquilize it, clip its ears with like the tags and pull a tooth and stuff for the kids. And Ben was probably 10 or 11. And I look over and I see my mom, smiling, and Ben is folded in half. My mom has her arms around his waist. He's folded in half, passed out during this presentation on the pavilion with all like 90 kids there because it made him pass out when they clipped the bear's ears with the tags.
Really?
That's funny.
Yeah, out cold.
Not the tooth?
Not the tooth.
Maybe the tooth.
It was the crack. It was the ears, right? You think it was the tooth? Maybe it was the combination of both. Oh, because it started bleeding.
That's funny. I can't, if he saw blood, I can't blame him.
This is a story from Isaac T. My craziest youth ministry story was my car being stolen by 3 kids in my youth group.
That's funny.
They ended up driving around the neighborhood and into a construction site. The kid driving was 15 years old, and he had 2 of his friends with him as they drove away my car. The kid driving was driving so insanely that one of his friends literally peed himself in the back seat out of fear.
That's beautiful. See, that's a good prank right there. Illegal.
That's a very illegal prank.
It's illegal.
It's still
but-
funny. Like it's better than like pooping in a bag.
and leaving it on somebody's desk.
No, like that's funny.
I
Like
feel
if
like
I
that's
Yeah.
more innocent than stealing a car. You don't think so?
No. Like I'd rather someone take my car than leave crap on my desk.
Yeah.
You'd
same.
rather a 15-year-old without a license
Yeah.
take your...
Yeah, because
I guess
mean,
for
if-
your sake, I would
Okay,
rather
so picture this: you call the parent of the kid who like duked on your desk, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, "Oh, that's hilarious," but like,
son-
I'm still gonna discipline my kid.
Yeah.
You call the parent who steals your car. Infinitely worse consequences.
That's true.
If I have to choose between somebody stealing my car,
You'd
and-
rather see the kid get reamed
and-
out even more is what you're saying.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Basically.
okay, that's fair. That's
If
really
you're gonna
good.
do the crime, you're gonna do some time.
All right, one more story here. This is from Jonathan M. My first month as youth pastor, a single mother called me to help her find her daughter who had run away. She was found, and I talked to the daughter about why she had run away. Her answer, though, was because her mother had bought her thongs, but now, out of nowhere, wouldn't let her wear them anymore, even though her mother could. And that's why she ran away from home.
The mom bought the daughter thongs,
And then changed her mind,
but the mom could wear the thongs, and
but the
daughter
mother could. And the daughter was a little upset about that.
I'm gonna leave the safety and security and shelter of my home
Because my mom won't let me wear a certain type of underwear.
because I can't wear no thongs.
See, kids' brains, that makes sense to them.
It actually does. I want
Like,
to know
it
how
does.
old the kid was. That would be my question.
Right. Well, because your brain isn't fully developed until you're 25. So you really have to and that's your judgment part of your brain that's developing until you're 25. So that was probably life or death to her. Think about what you got mad at your parents for.
I don't think ever in my life I threatened to run away from home.
It's because
Did you?
you're a perfect.
Either of you?
Absolutely, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I didn't.
My parents ruined my life because I couldn't go to my friend's house for their birthday party, and I packed up my bags and I walked a mile through the woods to my other friend's
out of
house.
here, mom and
You
dad.
made it, huh?
Absolutely. To me, that made sense. I'm like, if you won't let me go over to Megan's house, I'm going to troop a mile through the woods with my bags packed over to
Wait, was it
Kayla's
Megan
house.
Strong?
Yeah.
That's funny. That is funny.
I'm just still trying to picture how the conversation went between the mom and the daughter.
I mean, I honestly feel more bad for the male youth pastors. So, why'd you run away from home? My mom won't let me wear thongs.
She just bought them for me, too.
Right. Okay. Sorry, kid.
She bought me thongs and I can't wear them.
Parenting, guys. This is what it is.
Parenting
This is what we
101.
get. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Youth Group
man.
Chronicles, everybody. If you have some stories that you want to send in, ygchronicles@gmail.com. We would love to read those and possibly feature them on the show. Check us out on TikTok. It's where I post
Do it.
pretty much daily clips and highlights of the show.
Follow us on the TikToks.
Instagram is YG Chronicles. YouTube as well. Appreciate everyone listening to the show. The podcast, though, is killing it. We're getting probably 13 to 15,000 listens a month. Yeah.
Amazing.
It's not 100 anymore.
No.
It's
Yeah.
1,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just on the podcast. So everything else is growing as well, but you guys are absolutely killing it sharing the show. So appreciate everybody listening, and we will see you all next week.
Later.